Everyone wants to know. The problem is the decisions haven't been made yet. There's a conference call today for all 30 of the NBA's general managers ahead of the Board of Governors meeting that is tomorrow. The general managers are going to be briefed on the league's latest thinking about a range of return-to-play ideas and some details about what teams can expect off the court as well. Yesterday, our Ramona Shelburne and Adrian Wojnarowski reported that the League and Players Association are making near to reaching an agreement that would allow a limited number of family members to join players at the single-site location. Zach, that's a lot going on. What are you expecting to be the main takeaways of that general manager's call today?
I don't know, maybe nothing. I mean, it just could be an update on here are all the things that are on the table. We're meeting with the owners tomorrow. The Board of Governors is tomorrow, so it's like the big kids table comes tomorrow. And I think the decision is going to be to next week. And to your point, Rachel, I didn't really think there would be this much suspense left on May 28th as we almost enter June. I mean, there are 3 or 4 different general frameworks on the board and 2 or 3 sub-frameworks beneath those. And no one really has any idea what general framework is going to be picked. And like, we got to pick pretty soon. And there's really a lot of suspense.
No, there is. And it's funny that you said the big boy table, because the GMs, as much as that is a very respected job, they're not the decision makers here. This is going to be, the commissioners, the Players Association, and the owners. They're going to come down, and then they're going to relay the information to the GMs. GMs will then relay it down to the coaches, just how they're going to go about things, the training camp rules, how they're going to orchestrate the game. So I don't know if much of this meeting is going to come down, because I just don't, I feel like they're kind of middleman in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I was talking to a team owner yesterday who was talking about being briefed by his GM after this meeting. I do think part of the element of this is get some of the information that they want to get on the table at the Board of Governors meeting, get that out to the GMs the day before so that each general manager can talk to his team owner and talk about, okay, this is what will be good for us, this is what I advise for this, so the teams can kind of huddle up ahead of time and be best equipped for that Board of Governors meeting. We'll have to see if that indeed happens or if there are any hard decisions that get passed down today instead. Now, through all of these discussions, as you guys talk to players, one of the big topics that keeps coming up is their risk of injury after such a long layoff without playing basketball. And this is a particular concern to guys who will be free agents this coming off season. It's only magnified by watching what's happening to other sports in other places as they return. In the Bundesliga in Germany, after just their first weekend of action, a report by sports scientist Joel Mason found that injury rates were more than 3 times as high, with soft tissue injuries particularly prevalent. Now, Richard, hearing this as a player, what would you do if you were a pending free agent?
Well, no, you have to go and play. Like, understand that everybody has the exact same rules. Like this time here is very similar to a lockout where your professionalism is tested. Everybody wanted to come back to play. Everyone kind of believed on the stretch. Me personally, I didn't think that they were going to play, but there was a lot of belief that they were going to play. So if that's the idea, then you have to keep yourself as in shape as possible. If that means personal trainer, if that means running, doing all the things that you needed to do, right? No, nobody was in home confinement for the most part. Most people were able to still do exercises. So there's going to be injuries. There's always going to be injuries. Players are going to get banged up. That's always going to happen. There might be an increase, but ultimately everyone has a level playing field.
Yeah, to Richard's point, I mean, look, this is the most important thing about all of this is keeping the players safe and healthy, and players and coaches and staff and whoever else is going to be there. And, Richard said you have to play and this and that. I agree with him. The players, most of them are going to go play. But to me, this should be a deeply personal choice for everybody that has to go to this thing, because it's scary. The virus is scary. The injury risk, if you're a pending free agent in particular, is scary. And I'm not sure what solution can be collectively bargained if a player just says, you know what, I don't really feel comfortable going. That player should not be compelled to go. I think this is a deeply personal choice in a deeply scary situation.
It is, when you look at those rates of injury in the soccer league and you say 3 times as high, that does put a little chill in some guys, and that leads back to why some people want more regular season games before the playoffs start. Again, you've got competing interests there. Zach, I know you have a plan. You have the Lowe plan. What would you like to see that would help take all these factors into account?
I mean, I don't know what I would like to see, but my proposal was, if we're going to have a play-in tournament, I think the Nets and the Magic should be in the play-in tournament too. So it's the 5 teams in the West, Memphis and the 4 below them, Nets and Magic, some 17 crazy tournament, and 3 of those teams come out and make the playoffs, and then you seed from there, probably by conference. My proposal is based on 2 assumptions. Number 1, I don't know if the World Cup proposal, or I didn't know if the World Cup proposal was going to have enough support. I'm still not sure if it will or not. And number 2, the league probably wants more games than they would get by just starting the playoffs and going from there. So a play-in tournament gets you some games. The problem is, what are the top 13 teams, the good teams, what are they doing while these bottom teams are playing and getting themselves into game shape and playing real games? Maybe you can have those top teams play games that count, effectively regular season games that count towards the seedings and the standings, provided, of course, that the Lakers and the Bucks, I think, have earned the number 1 seed. So maybe they're too far ahead anyway. There's no perfect way to do this. Once you include more teams than just the playoff teams and more games than just the playoff games, you are going to get an imperfect solution that makes some people angry. And also, you have to take into consideration, how many people do we want there? How many people is too many? How many people staying for a long time as you would during a World Cup? How much of that increases the risk? I mean, these are all really hard questions.
We will find out. Richard, I don't know if you have an 18-point plan, but come up with that by the time you're next on the show, okay? Maybe tomorrow?
That's not
I'm just
my
asking.
role.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.